Now let's look at the foundational approach in practice. I'm going to show to you right now how to actually approach the foundational approach in practice, how to read using this approach, so that way you can take it and you can apply it to no matter how diversified your tarot decks are, and no matter how far they stray from traditional tarot decks. Remember, the goal is always going to be objectivity. Your objectivity of the image is going to be the foundation. Only once you discover the objectivity of the image, then you're going to layer it with all of your subjective meanings, your feelings about the image, including your intuition. But your foundation is always going to be objectivity. So what does it mean to find objective meaning of an image? It means you're looking at the image as a matter of fact. What is the factual information about the image? What is its essence? What is it meant to do? What is its function of the image? Why is this image this and not that? So you're really looking at the roots that tend to dominate the image. You're not looking at symbolic form of the image. You're looking at objective fact of the image. Sometimes looking at objective fact of the image is going to be easy. What are the swords? Swords objectively are weapons. Swords are meant to cut, they're meant to slice, they're meant to kill. That's the objective meaning of the swords. Sometimes it's going to be much more harder for you to derive an objective meaning because it'll be situated in a context, and sometimes you'll be looking at a person and you'll say, well, what is the objective value here? I'll show you all of those examples as we go along. For now, let's look at the first examples. Let's imagine you're doing a tarot reading for yourself or for somebody else. And let's, for the sake of simplicity, use a simple question for this particular tarot reading. The question is it a good idea to leave my job? It's a common question. I'm sure a lot of you tend to get it, especially if you tend to do tarot readings professionally. Let's say out of the whole deck, you draw a strength card. In this case, I'm going to be using single card example for you to simplify it. So you draw a strength card from a traditional tarot deck. I also want to use traditional tarot deck in the beginning of each example to show you the departure using other decks. So the traditional symbolic meaning of the strength card that you see here is strength. You may imply with the word force or something else, but essentially the traditional meaning is strength here. And using this meaning, one can conclude in regards to, is it a good idea to leave my job? The answer could be, you have all the strengths you need to follow through with your decision, right? So that could be one way of answering the question, by employing the traditional meanings that we always tend to use. The other way you can answer the same question is, you're strong enough to leave your job. Also valid, also good. One of the things I want you to notice is this traditional approach using traditional meanings is, while it's really solid, it tends to fall flat. It doesn't have depth, it doesn't have capacity to really take you to the depths. I don't feel that it takes you or gives you ability to really introspect about the question that you're asking or the question that your readers are asking. It just kind of tells you what it is. I like more open-ended questions, so then we can build the free association around the foundational element of the image. Now, let's look at the same image, but let me use the foundational approach and show you how once we get objectivity, then we're layering it with free association and intuition, and that's how you can help yourself and clients to introspect even deeper. Looking at this card, what do we see? We see a lion, and we see a woman who's trying to force open the mouth of a lion. Let's look at the lion first. Lion is what? It's a large cat. It's a cat that's native to Africa and India. It is also a predatory animal, right? A lion is, it's not a domesticated animal, and it's an animal that you seldom see with humans. Here in this picture, it is depicted with a woman, and the woman is trying to force open the mouth of a lion. Now, once you're looking at the objective meaning of a lion, you can pretty much deduce that the objective function of a lion, and one of the objective meanings of the lion, is lions are dangerous. And if a woman is trying to force open the mouth of a lion, well, that's very dangerous. In fact, you will never see in the real world a woman trying to do what she's doing in this picture, unless maybe she's a professional trainer. And we're not looking at a professional trainer. We're looking at a lay woman trying to open the mouth of a lion. So, looking at the context and what lion is, and the objective essence of the lion as predatory animal, as a large cat, as not a domesticated, warm and fuzzy animal, in a combination next to a human being, a woman in this case, and who's trying to force open lion's mouth, we can deduce that in this case, strength is dangerous. And strength absolutely can and is dangerous. So now we're not just talking about strengths. We're not just sticking to this one traditional approach of the strengths. We're using the objective orient of the image that we're looking at, and we're using a very specific essence of this image. In this case, again, strength is dangerous. Now, to answer your question, is it a good idea to leave my job? Using the foundational approach, we get a more nuanced and an open-ended question that will take you and your client to a deeper introspection. You get the following answer. What are the dangers of leaving your job right now? Now you're introspecting. Now you're thinking. Now you're no longer getting a flat answer. You're strong enough to leave your job. That doesn't really do much for me, right? I want to introspect. I want to know, is it really a good idea for me right now? So now you're really going deeper. You're situating the reading in a foundation of the image, line, dangerous, next to woman, danger, versus situating it in a symbolic meaning that tends to fall flat. You're taking yourself to completely different psychic depths. You start introspecting in what ways it may be actually dangerous for you to leave your job. And here's, remember how I said your subjectivity and your intuition is going to come in. Here's where subjectivity, your intuition, your feelings about this image comes in. You start to introspect and free associate. What is dangerous? Remember, what is dangerous to you is going to be completely different than what is dangerous to me or to somebody else. This is where your internal subjective library comes into play. This is where you start drawing your own free association of what danger means to you, what it means to open a mouth of a danger, what it means to look down the throat of a danger. But you're using danger as your base, as your foundation, as your free associate. And that's just completely changes the nature of the readings. Now in the next lesson, I'm going to show you exactly the same strengths card, but we're going to be looking at it from two decks that are not traditional, that have completely different essence of strengths, to give you an idea further how this method is now applicable in readings with the cards that are using not necessarily a traditional tarot method.